those who are watching us live right now, and those who have joined us through this virtual platform on this special panel discussion on the occasion of World Environment Day. I'm Jayashri Sinha, and I have the pleasure of moderating today's panel discussion, which is organized by Bhavan's Tripura Vidyamandir. Each year, on 5th of June, we celebrate World Environment Day, which reminds us of our shared responsibility towards the planet we call home. The theme this year is Ending Global Plastic Pollution, which urges us to take meaningful steps against one of the most pressing environmental threats of our time, that is, plastic pollution. To explore this issue and to encourage awareness and action, we have our four insightful panelists from class ninth and from class 10th who will shed light on different aspects of global plastic pollution, and they will also share their perspectives on how we as a global community and as individual can take action. But before that, let me welcome the guiding light of our institution, and he is none other than Sri Debashish Chakravarti, retired IFS and chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. Debashish sir has joined us. Sir, are you there? Thank you
Can
so
you
much,
hear
sir,
me?
for joining us. Yes, sir, I can hear you. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. We would love to hear something from you, sir, on the significance of this special day.
Thank
Over
you.
to you, sir.
Good morning and a meaningful morning who have joined this platform to be concerned about the degradation of our nature. My sincere thanks to principal, the teachers, and all the members of Bhavan Tripura Vidyamandir to become a partner and a stakeholder of a global crisis. Everybody is concerned today because of our own existence. Thanks also goes to Josri Sinha, who will be, Madam, who will be moderating this program. And we have the buddies, very bright students, Lakshita, Shammajit, Apsha, and Avipray. Thanks goes to them. And I'll be very brief because our young scientist, our young panelist will explain the details of what is happening around us, what is happening around our environment, what is happening around our home. So, fifth zone in 1972, the United Nations Environment Program, we call it UNEP, they started thinking that it is a high time that we should think about ourselves. What is environment? Environment is the surroundings or the conditions in which a person, animal, or other living objects operate. This is our home. This is our habitat. This is our territory. This is our domain. And we are degrading it. The problem lies where? Problem is that it is said nature can cater the need of everyone, but not the greed. I repeat, need and greed. My dear students, if you have some money deposited in the bank, you run your expenditures from the interest earned, and your whole capital is intact for years to come. But what we are doing, the anthropogenic pressure on nature, we are degrading our own existence. We are degrading the natural reservoirs without knowing it or knowingly. It is our greed. See, it is said that every unit of a biodiversity or nature is equally important to help each other. The loss of any unit is going to have effect on the life of a human kind. That is very important. See, Dr. Stephen Hawking said that if it continues like this, in next 200 years, there will be no human population in the world. The meaning is very simple, because we are cutting the trees, we are cutting all the greeneries, we are cutting or destructing the home of other animals. He said, if there is no bees, no insects, no birds, there will be no pollination of the flowers, and there will be no fruits, there will be no food production, and we will die out of that. Since 72, UNEP was trying to give a different uh, name of each year, like our art, our habitat, our home, forest, nature at your service, development with the destruction, groundwater, toxic chemicals, a tree for peace, only one earth, care and share, ecosystem restoration, and this year it is plastic pollution. So we are trying to cover everything to make a huge, massive awareness to all the population of the world that what we are doing out of our greed, ruthless, unsustainable destruction to nature is going to kill us. And it is high time that all of us should join hand and all of us should start thinking about it. As for the pollution of plastic use, our young panelists, they will be telling in details. I'm not going in details about it. It is said that about 20 million tons of plastics are taken to our system, including the aquatic system, rivers, sea, and only 9% of this 20 million tons is recycled. The rest are deposited as pollutant and remains for few thousand years to decompose. That is very important, that we are polluting the atmosphere, which takes few thousand years to get in a normal state. So we are degrading the natural resources, we are making the pollutions, the carbon emissions, resulting degradation of human health, and conflict due to unequal resource uses. There is a fighting between us. I want more, I want more. That what I was giving stress, the greed. Where we are leading to, what environment we leave for our future generation. But I have some rays of hope to explain to you or to share with you that at G7 summit, 90 country heads, they've taken a consensus decision to make nature positive world, to reverse the biodiversity loss by 2030 and give a nature positive world by 2050. I am very happy that our young generation has taken the lead. And the panelists of today are little bodies of our Bhavan Tripura Vidyamandir. I wish very success of the event so that other also can be benefited from your discussion. I convey my thanks to all who have joined the platform to join us, to listen to our panelists, to make awareness which is very much necessary to save ourselves, to save the nature. My heartfelt thanks to all of you. I wish every success of this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Your insights have set the perfect tone for today's discussion. And thank you so much for inspiring us to deeply reflect on our role and responsibility towards our planet Earth. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you.
Now, let's move forward to our panel discussion. So, let me invite our first panelist, and she is Lakshita Dhaka from class ninth, and she will speak on the global plastic pollution crisis.
Thank you, ma'am.
You can start, Lakshita.
Yes, ma'am. Today, we stand at a crossroads, not just as an individual, but as a global community, facing a simple yet urgent truth that if we do not act now to save our environment, soon there will be nothing left to save. A very good morning to everyone present here. Myself, Lakshrita Dhaka from Ninth, representing Bhavan's Tripura Vidyamandir. First of all, thank you very much for being here. Today, I'll be talking about a pressing environmental issue that affects all of us, the global plastic pollution crisis. In this presentation, we will try to explore that how we got here, the consequences of inaction, and what can we do to change the future. Plastic pollution is everywhere, from deepest of ocean to the air in which we breathe. It's not an environmental issue, but a public health and economic challenge as well. Understanding its global impact is the first step towards finding its solution. In order to prevent plastic pollution, it is imperative that we first understand what a plastic pollution basically is. Plastic pollution is the accumulation of plastic objects and products and particles in the environment. They can be large visible items, tiny microplastics, or even the invisible nanoplastic. Once, when plastic enters our environment, it doesn't go away. It just breaks down into smaller and more harmful plastic products. There are basically three types of plastic products. Firstly comes macroplastic. They are large debris greater than 5 millimeter in size. They include large plastic products, for example, bottles, bags, fishing nets, and packaging material. Macroplastics are visible and originate from the improperly disposed plastic products. Secondly comes the microplastic. They are plastic particles that are less than 5 millimeters in size. They can be primary macroplastic, which are very small and present in microbead form in our cosmetics, or secondary microplastic, which are extremely small particle products which are the result of breakdown of large plastic items. Thirdly and lastly comes the nanoplastic. They are extremely small in size and are less than 10 nanometers in size. They are just small that sometimes they are invisible to human eyes, and they are also the result of breakdown of microplastics found in our environment. Talking about plastic pollution, we need to know how and where it all started from. Plastic revolutionized the world in the 20th century with its durability and convenience. But what started as a useful material quickly turned into a problem when we started prioritizing disposability over sustainability. It was first mass produced in 1950s, and now it is a massive environmental problem for each of us. From the era of 1950s, we have used plastic extensively, and now it is 400 million tons of plastic produced annually. You would be shocked to know that 10% of it is ever recycled. The rest ends up in landfills, incinerators, or worse, our oceans and natural landscapes, which pollute the environment a lot. The main culprit to harm our environment are the single use plastics like bags, wrappers, bottles, and waste from the fishing industries. Industrial packaging and synthetic textile also contribute significantly to plastic leakage. Every piece of plastic matters and starts its journey from a specific source, whether it is a factory, landfill, or household. But far too often, it ends where it doesn't belong to our environment. Now, let us discuss how plastic finds its way into the nature. Plastic finds its way into the nature through careless littering, poorly managed plastic waste systems, and ocean based sources like fishing and shipping. Rivers also act like highway, carrying waste plastic material from inland area to sea and from the seas to the ocean. In the ocean, countless of plants and animals suffer due to this plastic pollution. Yes, I am talking about the marine animals and the serious impact the plastic has on it. Millions of marine plants and animals die each year due to plastic. Sea animals, sea turtles mistake bags for jellyfish. Birds feed plastic to their chicks. Some animals get entangled in the fishing nets, and some material clog their digestive system, which causes injury that can even lead to death. Plastic pollution not only harm the marine plants and animals, they also affect human beings. Now, let us discuss how human beings are affected by plastic. Microplastics are now even found in our food, water, and even in the air which we breathe. They carry harmful chemicals like BPA, platelets, some of which are linked to hormone disruption and even to cancer. While research is ongoing, the risks are serious, concerning, and growing day by day. The trash we create from plastic takes something to get cleaned up. It does not take lives. It does not take food. Yes, it takes money. Now let us discuss about the economic consequences of plastic pollution. Like we already discussed, the damage is not only environmental, it's economic too. Coastal cities spend million of amount on cleanups. Tourism, fishing, shipping, and other industries lose their revenue because of this plastic trash all over. In developing countries like India, plastic pollution worsens poverty and inequality. We spend a lot of money on cleaning plastic waste, but it is not all we require. We need the support of people in avoiding plastic, and lack of this gives hype to plastic pollution. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a visible symbol of a problem. Heavily polluted rivers like Ganga in India, Yangtze in China, and Nile in Africa serve as a major plastic conduits. Many low income regions also face the worst impacts due to this weak waste infrastructure. Thankfully, the world is taking the notice of a growing enemy called plastic. Campaigns and is negotiating plastic pollution treaty. NGOs and other international organizations are driving public awareness and innovations toward what we can do to change the future. Now, coming on what government do to change the future. The solution is not only ban, it is innovation. We are seeing biodegradable plastic, refillable packaging, and smarter product design. A circular economy model where waste is minimized and material are reused is gaining the attraction of people. Government is also taking steps with policies that ban harmful plastic, improve waste management, and invest in public innovation. Legislation is also putting industries and consumer in the right direction to save the environment and end up this war against plastic. It is not that government has to avoid and reduce plastic. We as an individual should also take necessary measures to save our earth. Each of us can make a difference. Simple choices like using a reusable bag or avoiding bottled water can reduce the demand of plastic. Supporting sustainable brands and policies is equally important. We all need to take part in avoiding plastic. Some are already leading the way, while more are required. Despite the progress, we face real challenges. Global enforcement is still weak, and for many people, convenience still overweighs sustainability. Changing the mindset of people is the key to solve this crisis. We need global cooperation, technological innovations, and behavioral change. The solution lies in collective action, like you and me. Plastic pollution still threatens the world, but we have the power to change the courses. It is a global problem, but a solvable one. Let us all reduce plastic use, support responsible policies, and work together to protect our nation. As we conclude, we all are reminded that every piece of plastic matters, and so does every effort to address this crisis. With sincere gratitude for your time and valuable insight, I conclude my remarks. Thank you and have a very nice day ahead.
Lakshita, thank you so much for presenting a clear picture of how deeply plastic pollution has impacted us globally. And you have also reminded us that this is not just an environmental issue, but a human crisis that calls for urgent action. And very nicely, you have also discussed about the potential solutions that we need to take action to overcome this global plastic crisis. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next, we have Shomiji Chakraborty from class ninth, and he will share his insight on policy and corporate responsibility in combating plastic pollution. Shomiji, are you there?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, so please go ahead. Screen is all yours.
Okay, ma'am. As nature is the most precious gift to us, we should also give something to nature. A very good morning to one and all present here. Myself, Shomojit Chakraborty from Class 9, representing Bhavan's Tripura Vidyamandir. On this auspicious event of World Environment Day, I am going to present a short PPT slideshow on the immense topic of policy and corporate responsibilities in combating the global plastic pollution crisis. So, next slide. So, in this project, we will be heading towards some of the key points that are policy corporate responses, the policy and corporate synergy, challenges and limitations of such synergy, the public cooperation, and last but not the least, the future outlooks. So, next slide.
Immediate wait just a second. For Mujit, now you can start.
Oh, so, the next slide, please. Okay. So, sorry for the interruption. But let us know about the policies that are helping us in various fields. we should know what are policies at all. Actually, policies are some of the legal framework, or shall I say, some paperwork that are helping in creating awareness about various things and in various fields that are helping in enacting worldwide. Now, there are various international agreements that are helping the plastic crisis. Agreements like the UNEP or United Nations Environment Policy, the WWF, the Plastics Treaty, the Basel Convention, and many more agreements that are helping in creating awareness across the globe and helping in creating awareness in our public as well as in the whole world to reduce the use of plastic. Also, various policies are helping in the banning of the massive production of plastic and also in the use of single-use plastic. Actually, the policies are creating legal framework or a legal paperwork that are helping and creating enactment and awareness in various corporates to ban the massive production and using of the sustainable products. Also, did you know that in various developed countries or even the developed cities in our own nation, if anybody is seen using the plastic on the streets or anybody is seen buying plastic packets or even the plastic bags, he or she would be taxed and he or she have to give the fine to the government officials. That is indirectly creating awareness in all the public and even in all the government. Also, there is a key role placed by the policy. That is, they are mandating the recycling mandates. Now, we should know what are the mandates at all. Yes, we can understand that this word comes from the word mandatory, and mandatory means essential. So same are that. Recycling mandates are some of the essential government imposed rules that are helping in creating awareness among various businesses and even in various corporates to sort, collectively recycle, and collectively take action against the plastic. So by some of these following ways, the policies are responding towards this plastic crisis. So next slide, please.
Shomojit, unmute yourself.
Or now various corporates are having their responsibilities in combating the plastic crisis. Some of the key responsibilities that are played are in the EPR, that stands as the initials for the Extended Producer Responsibility. Now, what are EPR at all? EPR, shall I say, one type of recycling mandates that are giving awareness to the various corporates or government run companies that if they will produce the plastic, they will only have to sort out, collect, and fully recycle the plastic, and they will only have to take the responsibility of such plastic. Also, various corporates are making the sustainable products, or I should say, the innovative corporates are building the sustainable products that are procuring against the plastic or that are helping in creating awareness to reduce the use of plastic. Also, various corporates are helping in giving the investment or even in the building of the waste management infrastructure and waste management camps. But we are not much developed as yet. So various corporates and even the government are still investing for the future ones. Also, one key role played by the corporates is in their transparency of plastic usage. Now, what do you mean by the word transparency? Yes, you can understand that this word comes from the word clarity. Same is the process that It gives a clear and clarity-full investment and the amount of the total report on the total amount of plastic used by the corporates, that how much plastic they have used in a sequel interval, that may be for 1 month, for 4 months, for 6 months, or even for 1 year, to the government officials, so that they can take the possible actions against them. So these are some of the responsibilities that the corporates are taking worldwide in creating awareness against the plastic. So next slide, please. However, have you got a question in your mind that why we are hailing the corporates as responsible, or how are the corporates responsible as they're taking various responsibilities? Yeah, definitely the corporates are responsible as well. Now, how? Actually, the various corporates are producing the plastic in a massive way. Now, you might have got a question that there are various sustainable products, then why the corporates are using the same plastic only? Actually, various corporates who are prioritizing their expenses, they are not using the expensive sustainable products, as the making and their producing is also much expensive. So they're using the cheap means but disastrous means of plastic. Also, various corporates are lacking their key role, that is their accountability or their answerability. Now, this path leads to corruption. As we have already heard about the transparency of plastic usage, that is, they're disclosing their clear amount of how much plastic they have used. But all the corporates are not disclosing in a transparent way. Various corporates are corrupted and even they're giving the bribing to the government officials. So they're giving a false report on how much plastic they have used. Also, they're using one process called greenwashing. That is, they're using the false statements to show that whatever they are doing to reduce the plastic crisis, but that is false. And if anybody wants to question on them, they are not answering at all. Also, various corporates are having their marketing choices on the plastic only. That is, the plastic is a cheap means, and also the plastic can be decorated in a very impressive way that are attracting various consumers and even those who are buying their products. So in such a way, the corporates are also held responsible for this plastic crisis, and even they're responsible for the massive production as well. So next slide, please. However, various policies and even the corporates are together uniting. That is, they're forming the policy corporate synergy. That is the unity of the policy, or I should say the government and the corporates. Now, there are various policy behaviors or some of the enactments that the government are making in addition with the corporates to help out in reducing the plastic crisis. One of the key role that they are playing is that in their 3P system, or the public-private partnerships. Now, what can we understand from this? Actually, it means the partnership between the government and even the corporates or the private companies in helping out the plastic crisis and reducing the plastic usage. For example, take an instance that the government is providing the land for making the waste management camps, and the corporates are producing the investment for that. So, in such a partnership, they are helping in reducing the plastic usage, they are helping out the plastic crisis. But there is a disparity, unfortunately. That is, they are lacking their clarity through enforcement challenges. What it means, we know that policies are also in this policy corporate synergy, and various policies are also lacking their clarity and designing. That is, not all the policies are clear. The unclear ones are providing confusion to the corporates who are using them. That's why often the corporates and even the government take false action by seeing the unclear ones. So it's a disparity for the synergy. However, various innovative corporates are being established nowadays. Why? That is a simple question. To make more sustainable products and innovative products, and to help out in reducing the plastic crisis and reducing such enforcement challenges. Actually, various innovative corporates are taking new innovations. They are helping the youth entrepreneurs through R&D incentives, or shall I say, research and development incentives. So these are some of the functions that the policy corporate synergy or the unity of policy and corporate are helping to reduce the plastic pollution. So next slide. However, there is hardly any synergy or any unity or association without some challenges and limitations. Yeah, definitely, or I should say, unfortunately, this synergy is also having various barriers. That is one of the key barrier is the high cost of sustainable products. That is sustainable products production and the collection of raw materials is having a huge cost, and those the corporates that are prioritizing the expenses that I've already told in my previous slides, they're not making those sustainable products. They're even saying it expensive to give helps to the youth entrepreneurs, and they're not even establishing some innovative corporates. They're still using the cheap means of plastic. That is disastrous also. Also, there is a supply chain complexity throughout the collection of the raw materials of the sustainable products to the production of such products. There are various small producers in mid of the process. That is also making the process very expensive and very complicated for various corporates to handle it single-handedly. Also, the sustainable products are having a low-term profit focus. Now, you might have got a question in your mind that why the sustainable products are having a low-term profit focus. They must have some high one also. Actually, the sustainable products are having a huge cost of production. And another reason is our lack of development. We are not much developed to pay heed to the sustainable products, or the people are not having their faith on the sustainable products, and also the production is of huge cost. So various corporates are still not making such sustainable products. They're still using the plastic, and this is one of the key barriers of such synergy. So next slide. Now I'm here presenting a short graph on the challenges and limitations of synergy, in which the most prominent is the weak waste infrastructure. That is the lack of development. As I've already told, we are not much developed, and still we are not having such high tech or innovative waste management infrastructure. That is a key barrier for synergy. Also, some more barriers are there, such as the reinforcement fragmentations or some greenwashing challenges, and many more. So next slide. However, there are some ways by which the corporates and the policies can reduce their or overcome their barriers. That is, even we can also use the sustainable products. Even the public can have their faith on such sustainable products away from those virgin plastic. Also, the policies and corporate synergy can improve their 3P system or public private partnerships and may procure more for the green environment. That is, they should make more innovative, sustainable products instead of the plastic. Also, they should take the system of 3 or 5 Rs. That is, refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycling of plastic. That will be much more simpler. So next slide, please. So by those ways, the policy and corporate can overcome such barriers. However, we are also public, and the policies or corporates are having their own responsibilities. But have you thought that are not we are having also our responsibilities? Yeah, definitely we can also cooperate with such government We can also cooperate with the corporates and even the policies. That is, we can take some small steps to reduce the crisis. We can still have faith on the sustainable products and we can reduce the use of plastic also so that we can procure more instead of plastic. We can also raise awareness about the sustainable products. That is, we can discuss about the sustainable products in our neighborhood or even in some get togethers wherever it's possible. We should also support the sustainable products. As I've already told, that the public may not lose their faith on the sustainable products and they should use more and more sustainable products to help out the plastic crisis. And finally, we can also cooperate at some extent to reduce the pollution crisis. So next slide, please. Also, there are various future outlooks for the various corporates and even the policy synergy. That is, in future, they may take some more proactive and more accountable role. That is, they may be more accountable and they should be more answerable to the government. Also, they must take the circular economic model. That is, they should avoid the complex supply chain for the sustainable products. And we should also use the 5R system. That is, we should first refuse to the use of plastic. We should reduce the use of plastic. We should reduce plastic. We should reuse the plastic also. We should repurpose some small plastics into new ones in our homes also, and and the corporates and the policies should take all the wastes and make a new ones out of it. That is, they should recycle the plastic as well. Also, the policy and corporate should ensure their integrity in this whole process. That is, they should reduce the corruption in this whole process. They should take more integral way in reducing the crisis. So these are some of the future outlooks that must be followed or will be followed by the policies and corporates. So next slide. Did you know that Belgium ranks the first in the production of plastic in the whole world, with 10 million tons of plastic being produced in a whole year? In all, in our world, 20 million tons of plastic is produced. However, unfortunately, only 9% can be recycled. And other ones are like in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and many more. However, so far we have discussed about the various policy and corporate actions. We have even discussed about the public cooperation and even the future outlooks of the policies and corporate. So if they will take the future outlooks, if we develop more, if we will have faith on the policy and government, one day, it may not be today, but one day in the future, we will definitely be able to reduce the crisis. So next slide, please. So at last, I will convey my whole thanks to everybody for giving me the opportunity to speak and spending your most precious time to hear this. Lastly, thank you all for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Shomijit. It was a wonderful presentation, very well researched and very well presented. You have
Thank you, ma'am.
highlighted Yes, you have highlighted the points like the power of strong policies and the role corporations must play in addressing this
Yeah,
crisis. Your message was very clear that combating plastic pollution is not the job of a single group. It requires the combined effort of individuals, corporations, and governments. And if each one of us take responsibility and contribute to sustainable choices, a cleaner, greener future is truly possible. Is it so?
yeah, ma'am, definitely.
Okay, thank you so much, Shomiji. Moving on,
Thank you, ma'am, once
let's
again.
hear. Moving on, let's hear from Apsa Karmakar of class 10th. She will be our next panelist, and her topic is plastic waste management and recycling. Over to you, Apsa.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you can start your presentation, Apsa. All the best.
So, my slides. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to speak about this topic. Good afternoon, everyone present here. My name is Apsa Karmakar, and I'm from class 10. And today, on behalf of my school, Bhavan Tripura Vidyamandir, I am going to speak about the topic the plastic waste management and recycling. So, I'm starting with the contents first. So, next slide, please. At first, we are going to see the plastic waste management and recycling, the plastic pollution crisis, the impacts of plastic pollution, and then current state of plastic waste and management. So my slide. And then the strategies for reducing the plastic waste, the importance of recycling, the challenges in plastic waste and management, the role of individuals and communities, policy and regulatory frameworks, and at last we are going to see the conclusion of this topic. So next slide. At first, I would like to emphasize that plastic recycling is very crucial for protecting the environment, for resource conservation, and reducing the plastic usage. Plastic recycling also helps to save the energy, to reduce the reliance on the fossil fuels, and it also prevents the plastic waste from entering our ecosystem. This in turn supports the circular economy by reusing the materials and minimizing the waste. Now, what is plastic waste management? It is a crucial and complex issue that involves the collection of the waste, the processing of the waste, and the disposal of the waste. As we can see, it is not just simple task, but a multifaceted challenge that requires the involvement of various stakeholders, various governments, and businesses, and as well as individuals. But according to Swachh Bharat mission, about 70% of the plastic packaging becomes waste, resulting in a staggering 9.4 million tons of plastic being generated annually in India, as reported by the CPCB or Central Pollution Control Board. Unfortunately, despite having the various recycling practices and waste management efforts, still a significant amount of waste enters in our ecosystem and being ends up in the landfills and pollutes our waterways. This highlights the need to for effective plastic waste management and recycling practices to mitigate the environmental impact of the plastic consumption. And if these steps are not followed, then we will have to see some plastic pollution crises. And now I'm going to talk about the plastic pollution crisis. So next slide. So now I'm going to talk about the plastic pollution crisis, which is a growing concern. It poses significant environmental risk and it poses significant health risk also. Uh, which is not only harms the planet but also our own well-being. It harms the marine life with animals getting entangled in plastic and them mistaking the plastic for their food. Furthermore, it contaminates the food chain and affects the human health too. This is a serious issue we need to address because the plastic that we throw away can end up in our food and ultimately harm us. To address this issue, we need sustainable waste management practices. This means finding better ways to manage the waste, to reduce our plastic usage, and to recycle more effectively. And it is very important to find some better ways to manage the waste. Otherwise, it could leave a very dangerous impact on the environment. And now we are going to see the impacts of the plastic pollution. So, next slide, please. The impacts of plastic pollution is indeed a growing concern as it harms both the marine life and the human health. Plastic pollution impacts the marine life by causing suffocation and ingestion of the plastic debris, which can be fatal. Additionally, it pollutes oceans and lands, contributing to the degradation of the ecosystem and the loss of biodiversity. The consequences of plastic pollution also extends to the human health and the climate crisis, as it contaminates the food chain, and degradation of the ecosystem means climate change. So it exacerbates the climate crisis. By understanding these impacts of the plastic pollution, we can work towards creating a more sustainable environment, healthier environment for both marine life and human populations. And now I'm going to talk about the current state of plastic waste and management. So, next slide, please. The main issues here are inadequate infrastructure, lack of awareness, and ineffective policies. This is evident that in the inadequate infrastructure, lack of awareness, and ineffective policies that are in place. Furthermore, there is a lack of proper collection system and disposal system which exacerbates the problem. As a result, the plastic waste enters our ecosystem and ends up in the landfills, highlighting the need for better management practices. Overall, this situation demands for attention and action to overcome this problem. We must work together to create a more sustainable environment and mitigate the environmental impact of plastic waste. And now I'm going to talk about the strategies by which we can reduce the plastic waste. So next slide, please. Strategies for reducing the plastic waste. These include the main 5 R's, which is reuse, reduce, recycle, and the 2 more added R's, which are repurpose and refuse. This involves the reduction of the plastic waste and reusing the products which can be used again and recycling the products which cannot be used again. Refusing means to saying no to the plastic bags and banning the single-use plastics. And repurpose means making a new use of something old, such as an old bottle which cannot be used again can be used for making a vase, which can be very useful. So, and banning single use plastics and promoting sustainable packaging can also make a significant impact. By implementing these practices, we can all contribute towards creating a more environmentally friendly world. And we can see here that recycling is very important. But why is this recycling important? Now we are going to see the importance of recycling. So, next slide. The importance now in this slide, the importance of recycling is highlighted. Recycling plays a crucial role in conserving the resources and reducing the waste. The key benefits of recycling are conserving the natural resources, reducing the landfill waste, conserving the energy. It also recycling also helps to reduce the pollution, saves the energy, and at last conserve the biodiversity while reducing the waste management cost. By adopting recycling practices, we can make a significant impact on the environment. Recycling helps to reduce the need to extract and process the raw materials and reduces the amount of waste sent to the landfill. And it also decreases the demand for energy. Overall, recycling is essential for promoting environmental sustainability. Uh, overall, and it is very important to find some better ways for recycling. Otherwise, the environment could be degraded also. But this might also have some challenges. And now I'm talking about the main challenges in plastic waste management. So, next slide. As I have discussed earlier, that the main challenges in plastic waste and management are inadequate infrastructure, ineffective policies, and lack of awareness. Furthermore, there could be the reasons such as contamination of the recyclables, poor segregation, and high costs. Contamination and poor segregation means the waste are not being dumped into the proper bins, and high costs can also be a barrier to the waste management system. Better infrastructure, awareness, and policies to create a more sustainable waste management system could be the possible way to mitigate these impacts. And for managing it, role of individuals and communities play a very important role. So next slide. Now in this slide, the role of individuals and communities are highlighted. The community and individuals play a very important role in conserving the natural resources and promoting the sustainability. It emphasizes that making a difference is possible only through sustainable practices and advocating for policy changes, participating in cleanup activities and initiatives, and fostering a culture of sustainability among each other to protect our environment. By taking these steps, individuals and communities can collectively contribute towards creating a more environmentally conscious and sustainable future. We but this Now coming towards our last topic, which is policy and regulatory frameworks. So my next slide. So I'm talking about the policy and regulatory frameworks.
Apsa, please continue. Your presentation is visible. Your screen is visible. You can continue.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. And now I'm coming. Now I'm talking about the policy and regulatory frameworks for effective waste management. Effective waste management relies on robust policy and regulatory frameworks. This means that government should take initiatives and policies like banning plastic bags and promoting EPR, also known as extended producer responsibility, which means that the manufacturer is accountable for whatever he is producing will not harm the environment. Regulations guide waste collection, recycling, and disposal system. Frameworks prioritize reduction, reuse, recycling, setting targets, and promoting education. Successful implementation require enforcement, infrastructure, and community engagement. Examples include country-specific initiatives and industry-led innovations, mitigating the plastic pollution, protecting the environment, and promoting sustainable development through collaboration and innovation. Now, at last, we are going to see some key takeaways or conclusions. So, next slide. It is clear that effective plastic waste management requires a collective effort from governments as well as the individuals. By reducing plastic use, promoting sustainable practices, implementing effective waste management systems, and supporting policy changes, we can significantly mitigate the impacts of the plastic pollution. As individuals, communities, and governments, we must work together to protect our environment, conserve natural resources, and ensure a healthier future for generations to come. Let us join forces to make a significant impact and a sustainable world free from the harmful effects of the plastic pollution. So, next slide, please. And with this, I'm ending my presentation here. Thank you for being a part of this discussion. Have a great day ahead.
Very well said, Apsa, that plastic is everywhere. It never goes away. And when we don't dispose it off properly, it can harm our marine life, it can harm our wildlife, and it harms our health. And thank you so much for this insightful presentation, Apsa. From the importance of reducing plastic use and promoting recycling to the pivotal role of policy frameworks and community involvement, your message was very clear. Managing plastic waste is not a choice anymore, it's a necessity. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Finally, let's welcome Abhipray Roy of class 10th, who will speak on how we can reduce our plastic consumption. He will also suggest some alternatives and lifestyle changes that can make a big difference. Abhipray, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you can start your presentation. All the best.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Plastic is the worst of times, but it is also the best of times because we still have a chance. Good morning, everyone present here. I am Abhipray Roy from class 10, representing Bhavan Tripura Vidyamandir. So today, in this event of World Environment Day, I am here to give a presentation on reducing plastic consumption, a sustainable choice for a better future. So my slides, please. My topic is one that affects us all, which is nothing but plastic consumption, and more importantly, how we can reduce it for the sake of our planet, our health, and our future generations. So, next slide, please. So, at first, let us give a look on the contents of today's presentation. So, my presentation will include a brief introduction to plastic, the plastic problem, the global plastic production rate, why does it actually matters, some common sources of single-use plastic, what we can do, some success stories reducing plastic consumption, challenges and realism, and lastly, a conclusion. So next slide, please. So let's dive into the topic. Plastic is everywhere. It's in our homes, offices, stores, and unfortunately in our oceans and even inside our bodies. Plastic is cheap, is durable, and it's incredibly convenient. But the same features have made it one of the planet's most urgent environmental threats. Every year, millions of tons of plastic waste pile up in our landfills, float in our oceans, and break down into microscopic particles called microplastics that now contaminate our air, our food, and our water. Reducing plastic use is not just about cleaning up beaches or saving marine life. Now it's about protecting human health, natural ecosystems, and creating a healthier planet for ourselves and generations to come. The next slide, please. Now let's look at the scale of this problem. Over 400 million tons of plastics are produced every year. 91% of all plastic ever produced has never been recycled. It can take hundreds of years for plastics to break down. Microplastics have been now found in our food, drinking water, and even in our bloodstreams. Around 8 billion tons of plastics enter our oceans every year, endangering marine life. And if we continue as we are, plastic production is expected to double by 2050. This is just not a pollution issue, it's now a global crisis touching every corner of our lives. The next slide, please. So, in this slide, we can see a graph representing the global plastic production. So, in this graph, we can easily identify The increase of plastic production annually, starting from 0 million tons in 1950 to more than 400 million tons in 2019. Now it is expected to cross 500 million tons present day. The next slide. As the saying goes, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we borrow it from our children. So why does plastic consumption matter so deeply? Firstly, the environmental impact. Marine animals are mistaking plastic for food. Coral reefs are being suffocated. Plastic litters every part of our ecosystem. Secondly, the human health. Microplastics can carry toxins and have been found in human organs and bloodstream. The long-term effect of health effects are still being studied, but the presence is deeply concerning. Thirdly, the climate change. Plastic is made from fossil fuels. Its production and incineration releases greenhouse gases, further fueling the climate crisis. So please move to the next slide. So we often think plastic waste comes from industries or companies, but our daily habits contribute a significant share. So here are some common sources of single-use plastics in our daily lives. Bottled water and soft drink, food packaging and wrappers, plastic bags, disposable straws, cutlery and stirrers, coffee cups and lids, toiletries and personal care containers, and lastly, the packaging from online shopping, which has now been a very crucial point. Most of these are used just for minutes, but they persist in the environment for centuries. The next slide, please. So, what can we do actually? A lot, starting as individuals. Here are a few simple steps. Switch to reusables. Carry a water bottle, a reusable bag, your own food containers. Try to say no to single use plastics. Refuse straws and plastic cutlery. Buy in bulk to reduce packaging waste. Choose glass, metal, or paper alternatives whenever possible. As we know, small choices, when multiplied by millions of people, lead to a big change. So please, next slide. Now, let's take it a step further. What can we do at our home and in our workplaces? Use bar soaps and try refillable cleaning products. Shop at farmers markets or zero waste stores. Encourage your workplace to avoid plastic in events and meetings, and support brands that make real commitments to sustainability. Creating low waste environments at home and work sends a message and builds momentum. So please the next slide. Individual action is powerful, but community and policy level changes are even more impactful. Support bans on single use plastic. Get involved in local cleanup initiatives or recycling programs. Educate others because awareness leads to change. Support or launch startups that use eco friendly packaging. And remember, one voice can spark a movement. So please proceed to the next slide. There's a good news. Around the world, people and new startup companies are innovating sustainable solutions. So let's look at a few. EcoWare, an Indian startup company, makes compostable packaging from wheat and rice husks. NotPla from USA, which stands for Not to Plastic, creates edible packaging made from seaweed and plants. El Gramo, a startup from Chile, has a refillable system for products like rice, detergent, and soap. Blue Land, a company from USA, sells cleaning tablets that dissolve in water. Just one bottle used endlessly. These companies show that reducing plastic is not just possible, it's even profitable and scalable. So the next slide. Of course, we must acknowledge that reducing plastic use is not always easy. Plastic is convenient, it's cheap, and sometimes alternatives are unavailable or too expensive. But the goal is not about perfection, it's the progress. It's about mindful consumption and building systematic change step by step. So the next slide. As we wrap up, let's revisit some everyday actions which you can take. Carry your own shopping bag, bring your own coffee or teacup, buy unpacked produce whenever you can, use reusable cleaning materials, advocate and educate in your circles, your workplace, and your community. As we know, change does not happen overnight, but every action helps in it. So the next slide. Now I will leave you with a single thought. We cannot do everything, but we can all do something. So let's choose to be the part of the solution, not the pollution. Next slide, please. Thank you everyone for joining me today.
Very well said, Abhipray. Let's pledge to be the part of the solution, not the pollution. What a beautiful presentation it was. And thank you so much for offering us realistic and practical steps we can all take to reduce plastic use in our daily lives. You have shown us that change truly starts with personal choices and that each of us has a role to play. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
With this, we came to an end of our today's panel discussion. Thank you to all our panelists, Lakshita, Shomijit, Apsa, and Abhipray, for their research, their passion, and their perspectives. As we have seen today, that plastic problem is not just a scientific issue, it's a human one. And while the challenges are big, so is our potential to make a difference through awareness, responsible choices, stronger policies, and innovation. Always remember that a small change can make a big difference. Thank you, audience, for joining us today. Stay responsible and let's protect our planet together. Namaskar.